anti-violence campaign film Senisim Pasin. Prime Minister launches multi-million Kina hydro power project. Raising the volume on corruption.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for Wednesday's news. A film aimed at changing a culture of violence in Papua New Guinea will premiere tonight in Port Moresby. Titled Senisim Pasin, the film is in Tok Pisin and targets Papua New Guineans. MTV caught up with the people behind the movie before its premiere. Sarah Aupong with more.
Man true, and man go emi respect him, Susa bloen, Mama bloen, and man go emi respect him or marry.
We cross the zone, go inside the house and simple snap.
Me, Hamamastru.
So yeah, it's very exciting, but I think the impact of it will hit us when we're sitting in the cinema tonight.
Gary and Michelle are with PNG Tribal Foundation, the organization behind the making of this film.
Na mipla look sabe osem displa pasin blong paiti Mary na no give him good chance long all Mary. Walk long bagarapim country blow yumi na walk long bagarapim progress blow yumi.
Simpler statistics long violence against women also talk 7 out of 10 women kisim heavy, or 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. There are people behind these statistics, and what we want to do is so more value long almeri.
While the film highlights gender violence, a sensitive and depressing aspect of what is becoming a part of PNG society, the film and the campaign that this film will be a part of carries a message of hope.
Problem is that you miss is problem is that, but this la film you look also the aim is to say how can we as a society man meri pikini how can we you all get to work on time lo kirapim good plus in lo yumi.
While Senisim Pasin premieres tonight to an audience of government officials, diplomatic corps, NGOs and other partners, those who are interested in its trailer can go to the Senisim Pasin Facebook page. Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has launched work on a multi-million Kina hydropower project in the Eastern Highlands that is expected to triple electricity output from Yonki. Once completed, the Ramu 2 project will be generating over 270 megawatts of electricity and will increase the household access to power in the Highlands, Morbe and Medang. Scott Wide reports from Kainantu.
The State Enterprises Minister and the high-powered delegation arrived to a rousing welcome in Kainantu today. His arrival marking the start of the biggest power project since the opening of the Yonki Dam in 1991. The construction of the Ramu 2 power project will affect 3 provinces, Eastern Highlands, Medang and Morobe. Contractors are being sought for the project estimated to cost over 2 billion kina. It will be built at one of the most beautiful locations in Papua New Guinea. The Ramu 2 project will be located downstream from the Yonki Dam. Once completed, it will triple the electricity supplied from the current 93 megawatts to more than 270 megawatts. To give you an idea of how big this project is, for every 100 houses that have electricity currently, add 36 more. And then picture the expansion from the tip of the Medang province all the way to the upper reaches of the Highlands provinces. Now, while this project is being welcomed, it'll also mean the displacement of people and whole villages. Today's announcement also comes on the back of ongoing talk of the touchy subject of ownership that has been discussed by Eastern Highlands MPs, many of whom feel that their people have been neglected for over 40 years.
Mipla put in expression of interest already to Minister and PM already, and Mipla Eastern Highlands are thinking of partnering with an investor. We are already talking with an investor.
Time you talk ownership, time government is single team you, Nam look sabalo you papa ground, resource owners, lo you come na walk boom one time. Like you know can come up also you step outside now you look.
The government says Ramu 2 will be based on a public-private partnership model which will see traditional landowners assume equity in the project.
At the moment, we've already set a benchmark in Octedi by giving provincial government and landowners 30% of that project. The same, I think, will now apply to all other resource projects, and I believe Cabinet will see no different. And this 30% is free carry, meaning that it will be transferred to them free.
Construction of the Ramutu project is expected to begin in 2016. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Kainantu.
In a related story, in Morobe Province, as an early Christmas present, 29 houses in Mahomba Village, Mumeng LLG of Bulolo District can now have access to electricity. The power connection is part of Bulolo District's power project initiated in 2009 that has benefited many rural villages within the district.
Tugamo Wakamdu, a health extension officer who has been working in the village for 36 years, has been using lamps and flashlights to treat his patients. Wakamdu serves patients at his house. During the night, he uses flashlights and lamps to attend to patients. He says this is the first time power has reached the villages, and is happy he can now use powered lighting to treat patients during the night.
Night, long power now we come na mi almas na mi gimok long or 6 months long night too.
Mahomba village is situated along the Waublolo National Highway. This new project will now help villagers to engage in small-scale businesses along the highway. Villagers can now sell soft drinks to travelers or store frozen goods in their refrigerators while they take part in other programs in the community. Since the start of the project in 2009, 400 houses in the Waublolo district have already received power. The 29 houses in Mahomba village are the latest to benefit under the district's power project. The district spends almost 100,000 kina just to get power into every household in the district.
And we come up close to 100,000 kina you spend in Tasolo, 29 house.
Mata Luis, National MTV News, Ley.
Today marks World Anti-Corruption Day. In Papua New Guinea, Transparency International hosted the event with the international theme, Raise the Volume on Corruption. Statistics show that corrupt practices in public administration and the lands and property sectors are the most complained about by our citizens.
Present at the event today was opposition leader Don Pollier, Fraud and Anti-Corruption Director Martin Damaru, stakeholders and individuals. TIPNG's Advocacy and Legal Advice Center have received 121 complaints this year alone from individuals and informal groups, such as the integrated land groups, about corrupt practices in their areas. From the statistics collected, most types of alleged corrupt practices that have been registered are transparency, conflict of interest, mismanagement of public funds, bribery, and abuse of public position. The 5 most complained about sectors are public administration, lands and property, natural resources, education, and finance and banking. These complaints are about the registry processing, public tender processes, retirement benefits, and misappropriation of district funds and land titles. TIPNG Chairman Lawrence Stephen is calling on the public sector to crack down on systematic corruption and promote greater efficiency in their services.
The department's dealing with mineral resources. There are people who there know that it's their constitutional obligation to be worried about the people, not to be worried about some clown who comes from overseas waving a potential contract.
Opposition leader Don Pollier said fighting corruption in PNG is everyone's business. He said parliamentarians like him must be held accountable of their wrongdoings.
What I think is good, because fighting corruption, enhancing accountability, and ensuring our systems are transparent, supporting good governance is a business that all of us must take interest in. It is a business as a father.
Based on the huge number of corruption complaints and the importance of land in PNG, ALEC embarked on a Know Your Land rights outreach in targeted customary landowners to know their land rights and responsibilities. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
On a related note, as a part of commemorating International Anti-Corruption Day, TIPNG held a street talk at Ella Beach with the theme Break the Chain. The event staged skits depicting lack of transparency, yoga performances and other displays involving the crowd. MTV's Lorraine Gabina has more.
Corruption has many forms. In commemoration of the International Anti-Corruption Day, Transparency International PNG took out a day of sun and fun to address and educate the general public on corruption. Speaking at the conference prior to the street talk, ALAC program manager Leilani Ose presented facts and figures on corrupt practices in PNG, with public administration, lands and property, natural resources, education, and banking and finance coming in as the top 5 sectors with the most corruption complaints registered against.
We have lack of transparency right at the top. Then you have conflict of interest. Then you have mismanagement of public funds. Then you have bribery, misuse of public position, and the list goes on.
TIPNG Director Father John Glynn highlighted the importance of accountability in order to make responsibility effective.
Trying to get a young teacher in a remote village school recognized by the department. In 2010,
the street talk is an effort to reach out to Papua New Guineans to further their knowledge of corrupt practices and the different ways they can help to fight this issue. TIPNG, through its Advocacy and Legal Advice Center, is a corruption complaints help desk. This is a free service to support victims and witnesses of corruption. TIPNG urges Papua New Guineans to raise their voice against corruption in this year's Anti-Corruption Day theme, Break the Chain. Lorraine Gabina, National EMTV News.
Effective public spending in 2016 is key to safeguard development gains. This is according to Asian Development Bank's latest report and an analysis of the PNG budget for 2016 presented today at an ADB event in Port Moresby. ADB specialists also discussed how ADB is partnering with the PNG government to help transform resource wealth to improve infrastructure and service delivery.
The ADB event today acknowledged that economies and communities in the region have been badly affected by the fall in commodity prices and extreme weather challenges, including the El Nino-induced drought. One of the key issues highlighted was that PNG could save up to an estimated 700 million kina with effective public spending. This could include the weeding out of non-performing workers and ghost positions. ADB Specific Department's Director of Transport, Energy and Natural Resource Division, Oli Norojono, commended PNG's decision to adjust physical policy in 2016, saying it was a realistic response in the light of the global economic situation. However, he said effective use of the 2016 budget can also soften the impact of the predicted slow growth.
Although agriculture is potentially high in many regions, we noticed that weak national transport systems and limited service delivery constrain the ability for rural inhabitants to participate in the economy.
Country Director of ADB's PNG Resident Mission, Marcelo Mink, said ADB remains focused on assisting the PNG government with priority infrastructure investment.
The reason we want to sustain investment in infrastructure to support the productive sectors and goes back to jobs and to the economy.
ADB's 2015 year in review also provided updates and showcased the achievements of ADB financed operations in PNG. Mr. Mink announced that ADB will increase its assistance in the new year in renewable energy, rural health and microfinance initiatives. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has welcomed the re-elected Ijivitari MP, David Arore, to the People's National Congress Party. Aurora was declared winner in the recent court-ordered by-election after collecting 9,789 votes. Mr. O'Neill commended the people of Ejivitari for having confidence in Aurora. He says Aurora has made changes during his term in office and the government will continue to support him. Still ahead on National EMTV News, calls questioning laws on waste disposal, strengthening church partnerships in service delivery, and Simbu farmers focus on marketing. Those stories up next. Welcome back to the news. Accumulation of waste or rubbish in front of many shops operating in the National Capital District has raised concern from the public, and many have questioned if there are certain laws in place to penalize shop owners who fail to keep their shop fronts clean. Our journalist Fabian Hakelitz visited a suburb in Port Moresby and files this report.
The accumulation of rubbish or waste around shop areas in Papua New Guinea's capital city Port Moresby is sickening and raises questions about the existing laws of waste management and food safety. EMTV visited East Boroko, where most shops are operated by foreigners. Residents living at East Boroko told EMTV News rubbish continues to accumulate in front of the shops. When questioned, shop owners said they were paying money to NCDC to remove rubbish. Bonua Talava from Simbu province works at the bakery in the area and in his free time cleans around the shop area. He told EMTV News shop owners have become irresponsible, dumping waste in front of their shops.
Last day, they come cleaning, CDC come cleaning. All store line, all from rubbish plant, all from my golong.
All store line to bring rubbish flow, only se tromelo backside, only se tromelo proper bin. Or rubbish flow, se tromelo front na plastic, paper, you look him go pull up the slab. Even all cookie front too. So mubada im panim salol youths lo kam help mo mangina bol cleaning slab. Mibol mangisa cleaning slab to em mibol salo payroll blend CDC.
Residents have called on the National Capital District Commission to penalize shop owners for failing to manage the disposal of waste. EMTV was unable to get a response from NCDC. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Port Moresby's Baruni dump is undergoing a massive reconstruction at the cost of 12 million kina. As preparations for APEC in 2018, the National Capital District Commission is reconstructing the dump area to accommodate the increase in solid waste. The rehabilitation work is a joint initiative by NCDC's Waste Management Division and the Japanese International Cooperation Agency.
The rehabilitation work comes at a time the city is experiencing increase in economic activities and the number of people coming into Port Moresby. The landfill exercise is a move undertaken by the national government through NCDC to manage solid waste. The rehabilitation work is supervised by a local engineer, James Ricky. In a two-day workshop that began today, officers from provincial waste authorities met and discussed on how the landfilling exercise at Baruni will improve how they manage waste in their provinces.
Come in and just share what NCD has gone through and see what they've actually developed.
Currently, the waste dumped at Baruni is disposed in an open fire. As years passed, this exercise was considered unhealthy for both the environment and the humans.
Waste management program as a national policy or national program, maybe I think it's good to show the clean PNG to the rest of the world.
Challenges for the waste authorities include poor management standards and insufficient funding and resources. The absence of a solid waste management policy is also making it more difficult for waste authorities to secure funding or technical help outside of the government. However, NCDC says the rehabilitation work on Baruni is a step closer to establishing a proper waste management system in Port Moresby. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Ed Arano has again appealed to city residents in Port Moresby to be water conscious. Chief Operating Officer Fifaya Matainaho says Edarano is heavily dependent on the Senisim Dam. He says El Nino is picking up at this time of the year and ownership has to be taken by all city residents of Port Moresby.
Edarano is working on contingency plans to address the water woes in the city.
First of all, we don't have any other system, water system, but only one, and that we rely on Senisim Dam. And coming right up to Laloki at Bomana, we also have an emergency pump station, water pump station that can also feed, should we activate that, about 50 to 60 million liters per day.
The prediction of a prolonged dry spell could be critical if it does extend for another 10 months. Chief Operating Officer of Edarano Fifaya Matainaho explains the current situation experienced at the Senisim Dam.
The storage is like from 100 million cubic meters. We will probably reach that level around about early January, perhaps in the first week of January, judging from the way that we've been consuming water. Okay, the demand in Port Moresby. That's when PPL will stop using the water completely for power generation, when we reach the 100 million mark.
Other service providers such as PNG Power Operations will also be affected. The city is already experiencing water rationing, but Edarano is further appealing for residents to take ownership of the situation to avoid wasting water.
That's why we are really appealing to the people in NCD, the good people in NCD, to bear with us so that we can preserve the water.
Senisim supplies 175 million litres per day to the city, but the rationing has seen it supplied only 123 million litres. Mickey Cavera, National EMTV News.
Deputy Prime Minister Leo Dion has reaffirmed the national government's plan to strengthen church-government partnerships in service delivery. This partnership is filling gaps in the social sector, an area the government hasn't fully embraced. Mr. Dion announced this during the first graduation ceremony of Diploma in Primary Teaching and Nursing at Divine Word University's Caballeo campus recently.
For the first time since the inception of Divine Word University in East Newberton, the Catholic-run institution marked a milestone. DWU's affiliated Caballeo Teachers College and the St. Mary's Vunapope School of Nursing hosted its first combined graduation that marked the end of their 2-year studies for a diploma in primary teaching and nursing. Given the importance of this day, the health and education as the pillar policies for the country, Deputy Prime Minister Leo Dion, who represented the government, reaffirmed the government-church partnership in delivering these basic services.
The development by Divine Word University is a great testament that the policy framework for church, government, public-private partnership is progressing from strength to strength and translating into enhanced improvements in service delivery.
DWU is one church-run institution that tries to answer calls for a better education and health services for all, and what has come about stands apart from other institutions in the country. The success of the institution and its partnership with the government has been strengthened by a team led by Father Jan Juba from the Divine Word University's main campus in Medang.
It's not a responsibility of PNG government, is our responsibility, institutions who are engaged in health education, to work together with partners.
Since the arrival of the first Christian missionaries in Papua New Guinea, churches have played a significant role in the delivery of services when there wasn't a Waigani. And while there is a Waigani today, the churches are still outperforming the government. And it is here that the government wants to maintain its relationship with Christian churches and other private partners. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Evadahana Primary School at 9 Mile outside of Port Moresby today remembered a grade 8 student who passed away a month before he was to graduate. Eyewitnesses from Laloki said the student was fleeing police when he jumped into the Laloki River and drowned. Eric Haurupma with this report.
Those who turned up at the School 18 graduation today observed a minute of silence in tribute to Azazon, a grade 8 student who died last month. John, aged 14 from Copiago in the Southern Islands province, was one of the 209 grade 8 graduates who should have graduated today. Everdana Primary School head teacher Samuel Walla, while expressing condolences to the family of the late student, said it was sad to have lost a student at this time of the school year.
Our innocent students like our student here, John Hase, who just lost his life, unattended to by parents.
Residents of Kinakon, 14-mile farm, said that the deceased drowned himself in the Laloki River while fleeing from the police. An alarm was raised about the boy's disappearance and a search was conducted. His body was found drowned in the Laloki River about 15 meters away from the residential hub. Residents said he was washing his clothes near Laloki River when policemen came and chased the gamblers. He's one of the chasers escaping from the policemen drowned into the Laloki River.
Some like an hour, minutes, tambat go finish lem now. We go loud starving lem, sa walk lem, no come. No come stop go no to my game pas pudan lo waran. Avino me black again, I come check him. First round no got, second round 6 o'clock. No I'm check him no got now. All narabla my game because him in chat lo waran.
Azel lived a tough life in Port Moresby with no family. He worked as a security officer with Gadok at night and attend school during the day. Eric Arupman, National EMTV News.
Simbu farmers will no longer see their garden produce rot. Today, Simbu Governor Noah Cool officially launched the Simbu Farmers Marketing Limited project, an initiative where the middle supplier is cut off and garden produce from Simbu transported directly to Port Moresby markets.
Over the past 30 years, Simbu is home to many garden produce. The bulk of the population are farmers, but their produce is usually left to rot and is wasted because of poor market opportunities. The establishment of the Simbu Farmers Market Limited opens market options for all Simbu farmers. This entity will coordinate and help rural farmers sell their produce directly to markets in Port Moresby.
This project, Honorable Governor Noah Cole, let me support him.
This project is set to help most rural farmers in Simbu to earn something and embrace the sale of organic garden produce.
So as a responsible government, as a responsible administration, we will all want them to devise some ways where you may buy, working direct intervention into the small people.
Initially created in 2013, the Simbu Farmers Market Limited will now see 2 containers packed and transported to Ley, then shipped to Port Moresby.
One place can go inside the garden, keep busy, produce things, make money for themselves so that only can look out him only.
The framework and management of the business arm has drawn the support of the New Zealand government and other stakeholders like the Fresh Produce Development Agency. The project in Port Moresby was embraced with a Land Cruiser and a container this morning at the 9-mile Simbu block. First shipment of garden produce is scheduled to arrive next week in Port Moresby. Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
And now looking at the finance news, the kina closed unchanged at 0.3350 US dollars in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying 0.3275 US dollars, 0.4501 Australian dollars, 0.2974 euro and 39.93 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and copper closed higher, while coffee and cocoa closed the day lower. Palm oil, crude oil and copper closed the day lower. And on the stock markets, the Dow Jones closed at 163 points lower, the ASX closed at 48 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed 47 points higher. You're watching National EMTV News. We'll be back with more after the break. Welcome back to the news. To the autonomous region of Bougainville, the Australian government, in partnership with the autonomous Bougainville government, have completed upgrades for 8 key town roads. The project is funded by the Australian Aid Program and delivered through the Transport Sector Support Program, and it aims to boost Arawa Town's economy.
The 4.3 million kina roadworks by contractors Dakanai, Bougainville Earthworks, Company, Euro Roadworks, Central Bougainville Engineering and Eastrack have improved safety, reduced travelling time on Arawas roads and provided jobs for over 100 locals. Locals have experienced these changes that have helped support a business-enabling environment in the autonomous region of Bougainville. The project builds on previous Australian-funded roadworks between Morgan Junction and Tunuru, with regular maintenance of main trunk road and a loop from Arawas South through Buin, Tonu, Sovele, Java and Panguna. This most recent works build on Australia's previous support ceiling for different roads in Arawas since 2012. The project included provision for new line markings for junctions as well as over 25 road safety signs. The Australian High Commission was pleased to note the sustained improvements to Bougainville's transport network that will better connect locals to access essential services. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, 20 detainees from Bougainville detained at the Kerawat jail in East New Britain province have been visited by their families. Detainees were able to speak with their loved ones for the third time since the program was rolled out in 2013 that ensures detainees have close contact with their families. The visit was made possible through the International Committee of the Red Cross as part of its humanitarian mandate to visit persons deprived of their freedom to be treated humanely and with dignity. ICRC also has close dialogue with detaining authorities for them to listen to detainees' challenges whilst in prison. While speaking today at a primary school graduation, Deputy Opposition Leader Senisim Pasin said free education and health must be embedded into a law. While a struggling economy, politicians will be bounded by law to make funding available for schools and health facilities. Bethany Herman reports.
Lay's Milford Haven Primary School graduation happened today. Deputy Opposition Leader Senisim Pasin was guest of honor. Speaking to parents, the Bulolo MP said free health and education must be guaranteed despite the state of the economy.
So, the school fee subsidy blue, Mipla DSIP, Mipla Kisim. Now, our teachers lead pay rolling of Kisim, and there are many sectors like National Parliament or staff for National Parliament or 2 weeks ago and last week.
Schools around Papua New Guinea have closed early due to the lack of tuition fee-free education funding coming from the national government and the drought impacts. But while the opposition blames the government of mismanaging the economy, causing the lack of funding going into free health and education, the government maintains that all is well and that essential services are being funded. But there are more calls for the national government to pay outstanding.
We're committed on the ground. We're already stretching ourselves beyond the boundaries, doing the work, completing the work and waiting for the funds to pay now.
Last week, during the graduation of Lay Secondary School, a school also closed early due to financial problems. Lay MP Lojak Hauser said the government has to complete all outstanding payments. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Lay.
Patron of Safe Motherhood Alliance PNG, Dame Carol Kidu, says the implementation of legislation to protect safe motherhood is inconsistent. Dame Carol said this is because legislation and family planning policies only serve as benchmarks and takes a while to be implemented across the country.
While more emphasis have been given to recognize the rights of women and children to eliminate all forms of violence against them, the PNG Safe Motherhood Alliance has been playing a leading role in advocating about safe motherhood practices and maternal health issues in the country. However, according to Safe Motherhood Alliance patron Dame Carol Kidu, the onus is slowness in the implementation of the existing legislations and policies to safeguard the safe motherhood practices and maternal health.
It took at least 10 years before we started to get some change from laws.
She pointed out that many deaths in the country were pregnancy-related because of the woman's negligence to access health services. Safe Motherhood and Maternal Health Practices advocate Linda Baba O'Neill said the country's social taboo and cultural complexities are the main causes of ongoing stigma and discrimination and increasing unplanned pregnancies.
Someone become pregnant, as a parent, yes, you feel very
upset and you take it sometimes out on the poor child.
Many young girls feel shy to come out openly and expose their problem because they're scared of being abused as opposed to the cultural taboos.
Having an act become law is a great first step, but then again there's more that needs to be done.
Meanwhile, the Safe Motherhood Alliance has taken a bold stand in fighting for the rights of these women and young girls who have been the victim of stigma and discrimination. Eric Arupman, National EMTV News.
Opposition leader Don Pollier has lashed out at the national government for not playing its role in speeding up investigations into the alleged rape of a female employee by expatriates at the Manus Regional Processing Center. Pollier says authorities have gone quiet and something must be done. He says stringent measures should be taken and there must be no more delays.
Even in Salem, center like in Manus, but for the government to continue to delay shows lack of confidence and alertness on issues that are of international importance, on decisions that a country has made. And I urge the Prime Minister and his people to, and those especially the Minister of Foreign Affairs, to address this issue immediately.
To Medang now, and John Tucker, named the Alumni Student of the Year when the Divine Word University opened its Alumni Park this week, is the first to have his name engraved into the immortality wall in the park. Tucker's achievements that were recognized go way back to his village in the Western Highlands province.
He was the man of the moment. His name is the first to be engraved onto this immortality wall, not only for fame, but rather a challenge for the university's future generations.
Queen's Young Leaders were selected for community service, for innovation, for creativity, for everything that they're doing to help the humanity for the Commonwealth nations. So I was one of them in Papua New Guinea to receive the Queen's Young Leaders Award.
Hailing from the Wagnum village in the Mul district of the Western Highlands province, Thacker realizes that mothers in his village who travel very far just to give birth must be helped. So he initiated a village clinic that recently opened.
I want to have partnership with the government so that we build a maternity ward for the mothers and then they can have a proper rest and deliver.
He was supported by his fellow villagers.
We already spent 20,000 kina from our project, village project, to plow the land. So now we're seeking funding to build a maternity ward.
Having come this far, Taka is now encouraging other young men and women.
And we don't have to look for outside people, outside foreigners to come in and change our communities, our village, our place, our problems that we are facing through. The solutions are all inside our community and it's with our young people. So if we can stand up for what is right, then we can change our own community.
Rachel Shise, National EMTV News, Madang.
And that ends our news segment. Trukai Sports is next with Rugby League at home and in the Philippines. I'll be back with the details.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The Southern Nines tournament kicks off this Sunday at the Sir John Guy Stadium. The competition, formerly known as the Central Nines, is into its 13th year and has grown in numbers since it was launched. Jaylee Sapias with more.
This year's tournament will see 60 teams taking part following the establishment of the competition in 2002. Tournament director Solomon Ravu says the tournament has grown since and will continue to do so with ongoing support.
And because of popular demand, we increased the region to southern, which is from Oro province to Western province, and the youths from that region participate during that 1 week of festival. And it's basically Rugby League Nines.
The Southern region has produced some of PNG's best in Rugby League, filtering players through to the PNG Kumuls jersey. This tournament will provide an avenue to expose and scout raw talent from within the region.
What can happen, we don't know. You know, selectors could see some good attributes, they can pick them up, train them more and develop them into top-class players.
While the draws are yet to be released for the weekend, all games will be played at the Sir John Guy Stadium over the course of the tournament in Port Moresby. Jaylee Sapias, National EMTV Sports.
In August 2013, Papua New Guinea students studying in the province of Batanga in Philippines initiated a rugby league team called the Batanga Warriors. The main aim was for PNG students spread across the different institutions in the province to come together and play for the team.
With the awareness of the newly established Philippines National Rugby League, PNG students were keen to take part. PNRL invited the team to take part in the Zambales Nines tournament in 2013, but they missed out their first chance due to school obligations. After a year, they again had their first shot at competing in the PNRL. On September 16, 2014, they successfully took part in the PNG Independence Day Celebration Rugby League tournament. With little knowledge of rugby league in the Philippines, finding sponsors for the team was difficult. Through the initiative of International Student Organization President Ismail Kepu, he was able to secure a sponsor from the University of Batangas, with the support from University President Dr. Hernando B. Perez. The university has come on board to sponsor the team with new club jerseys and equipment. There are many PNG-organized rugby league teams in Filipino colleges and universities, and they are purely student-driven. Elijah Lavet, National EMTV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. I'll be back with the details.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The PNG shooting team set a benchmark at the recently held Oceania Continental Shooting Championship in Sydney. Now the team has set its sights on the looming Australian National Championships in January, the World Championship in Bangkok and the much-anticipated Rio Olympics. Shane Saroya has this report.
Riding on the back of a successful Pacific Games campaign, the shooting team pulled off another one in Sydney. And despite falling short of qualifying for Rio, the team now faced a daunting task with a number of international tournaments lined up as early as January next year.
Rio Olympics, it's an Olympic, obviously we'll have the Olympic events, and so the team is focusing on trap and double trap and pistol events, which is the same, similar as what we shot at the Pacific Games.
Like every other sport, the Olympics is the pinnacle of all events, and it is where the elites tussle for glory. And Mel and her team of shooters are determined to book their tickets to Rio.
The next few months, what we will be doing is spending a lot more time sending the team to Brisbane, which has got the closest facility that would be presented in Rio, for example, or even in the Commonwealth Games.
Using her vast knowledge and experience in the code, Mel now intends to coach the current and upcoming young aspiring shooters.
Coaching sessions that we are conducting at the range. In the last couple of months, there has been quite a lot of. Obviously, we've been quite busy getting ready for the Oceania, and in the next few weeks, it'll be even busier because the team will be competing at the Australian Nationals in Brisbane.
However, the team is faced with much tougher challenge: securing a coach.
We also need a specialized coaching. And we have a coach in Brisbane, Peter Freliagos, who has been helping out our team. And in Sydney, we also met up with a couple of other potential coaches. So if they are around the Melbourne area, if we are competing in Melbourne, we've got resources that we can utilize.
Some of the factors affecting the shooters' training are the shotgun ammunition shortages, as well as the amount of exposure that the team needs to be accustomed to in order to perform at the highest level. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
And Trukai Sports ends there. I'll bring you the weather details after the messages.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
And here's a quick look at the weather for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Mostly fine in Port Moresby, Kerema and Popondetta, and fine weather expected in Daru and Alotau. And to end the news, recapping our main headlines again. Film hoping to turn the tide of violence launching tonight. Prime Minister launches multi-million Kina hydropower project. and raising the volume on corruption. And that has been National EMTV News for today. I'm Mary Batulo. On behalf of the news team, pleasant viewing. Good night.